Hello, how are you? This is Darlene Wontrop, your instructor. I'm going to give you a couple directives and directions on how to navigate through the course, especially if you have not been on Canvas or used Canvas for one of the online courses, or if you haven't done one in a while. So if you listen to this video, hopefully you'll get some ideas of how to navigate through the course, as well as some directions for our first assignments. Canvas. If you have a dashboard like mine, if you're taking several courses, this is my dashboard. So when I go to my dashboard, I click on 638A, summer, and it brings up the course. And this is the home page. You can see on the left-hand side right here, it says home page. And so I'm on the home page. This is called the bread trail or the breadcrumb trail. You can go back from whatever you were doing before through that, or you can do the arrow back and or you can click back. So for instance, if I click here on welcome letter, it will open up the welcome letter. You can download things. I always like to download it, or you can read things online. So I'm going to go back to the breadcrumb trail. It'll take me back to where we were, and you'll see the syllabus is here, your course assignments. This is your assignment. Well, not graded assignment, but let's meet the class, where you go on and make a video, and I've made a video as an introduction, and the directions are right here for a video reply in an introduction, and it takes you through, if you go on, and gives you all the directions, and it's pretty easy to follow. I'm going to arrow back this time, so if you look up here on my arrow, I'm going to arrow back, and it takes me back to exactly where I was. So there are different options in going back. You'll see some support services and tutorials and some other things. An important section is the rubrics and assignments, and we're going to be looking at each of the assignments. Before we do that, as you go down, each session is divided into weekly sessions. This is session 1, as you can see. The directions are here. You start there, all the materials. Here's a welcome video. And then for the lectures, this is the entire lecture for session 1. This is your course activity with specific directions. So when you open up your course activity, you will see that it has what you need to be doing, the topics you need to be talking about, or your activities that you will be doing when it's due, just a reminder. And so that is your course activity. I'm going to go to my breadcrumb trail and go back. And as we continue with session 1, you can see there are mini lectures. So the whole lecture is right here under session 1, lecture summer. And then there's mini lecture 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I haven't added videos, but there'll be a couple videos in there also. There's a discussion in week 1 or session 1 that you'll do. And then this is just a reminder about your assignment that is due. So let's take a few minutes and look at our assignments. Ways to access the assignments, they're always here, and I will open them up as we go along. So you'll only have the first assignment, and then as we get closer, there'll be the second assignment, and then the third assignment, just so as not to overwhelm you. When we look at assignment 1, Assignment 1 is a strategy review that you're going to look at 2 different word identification strategies or techniques that would help your struggling readers. And you're going to discuss them and do a little bit of research and find out anything you can about them. And each of the direction pages are divided. So you're going to give a summary of the strategies, talk about the rationale. In part 2, you're going to describe an action plan that you would be able to implement, describing how the strategy could be used to promote word identification, give some specific examples of how you would teach the strategy to your students, etc. So the directions are very detailed. The third part of this would be then you'll evaluate whether or not you think this would work. All of your papers, when you hand them in, need to be in the APA format, 12-point font, and double spaced. But when you do your weekly course assignments or your discussions, obviously you don't need to follow those mandates. And then for each one of the assignments, there is a rubric. So you can see there are 40 points for the first part, 35 points possible for the second, and the last part has 25 points possible. So that is assignment 1 that you will begin thinking about and will be due on week 3. Assignment I hope that you will enjoy is going to be to create a game or an activity with word identification. So I have an article, if you look under number 1, I have an article from Reading Rockets, and I'll provide some other resources for you to read about some games and activities. And I'm sure that you know many games and activities that you could or would use with word identification, and you're going to explain it. I want you to create a new one or one that you can use. So if you choose a popular one, such as some kind of a word sort or some kind of a Go Fish or bingo game, then you're going to make your own that would fit your grade level, your word wall words, your students. So you're going to create the game in the first part. Then you're going to talk about how you would implement it and how what the rationale is. So you'll describe your purpose, expectation, and what's your outcome? What are you expecting from this game or activity? Not just to take time, obviously, but what do you want to use it in an instructional setting? And then the third part is you're going to create a presentation, and you're going to share your presentation with the class. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, but it will be just a short video presentation. Again, there is the rubric in the different parts or components, 25 points for the first 2 sections, 30 points for your presentation. So that is assignment 2, just as a basic overview. We'll talk about it more in detail as we go along and as we approach week 5. To great detail, but your last assignment, which is due week 7, and you'll have most of week 6 and 7 to work on it, will be an intervention program evaluation. And I'm asking you to look for an intervention program. We're going to be talking about many of them throughout the course, so you might be thinking about that. And in one of your course activities in session 1, you're going to have an opportunity to explore, research a little bit more of an intervention program you would be interested in. But then looking at what are the components. Is there a focus on word identification, or is it a component of the program? And I'm not going to go into all the details right now about your assignment, but that will be due at the end. That's your final project that you will be doing, and it will be worth 100 points. So those are your assignments you will be working on, and we'll talk about them as the weeks go by. Thank you.